Hi again, everybody, and welcome to the 2021 Syracuse football schedule release show presented by Dunkin, the official coffee of Syracuse athletics. Along with Adam Terry, our Syracuse Sports Network analyst, I'm Matt Park. Thanks for being with us. And Adam, you and I, in normal years, we get to go to these games. When the schedule comes out, it's exciting. We've known the opponents, but now it's still interesting to find out what you have for Friday nights and when you might go in the order of the games. And I think we're excited to kind of move on from this past year and get into a schedule that's a little more what we're accustomed to.
Yeah, definitely. Huge opportunity for Syracuse coming out early. You know, when you said you get back to some normalcy, 4 games at the beginning that are winnable games for Syracuse. So really excited to see that, because you're going to see the development from the offseason with a bunch of young guys. You get some time in the weight room, you get spring ball, you get the offseason, and then they get to go against high-level competition, but they're very beatable competition for Syracuse.
So the schedule, just as far as the schedule itself, a couple of bullet points that jump out right away. Number one, return back to division play in the ACC. So Syracuse will play all of the Atlantic Division opponents that they're used to. This past year, when the schedule got shuffled up, Florida State disappeared from the schedule. That's been changed. Non-conference games go from 1 to 4. Obviously, there's the hope that fans can attend these games, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But the Bills with fans at a couple of their playoff games, that by all accounts went well, and hopefully things progress related to COVID over the course of the summer here, that once things roll around, it's going to be football as we know it.
Yeah, no, definitely exciting. It's be a fantastic sight to see a bunch of cheering faces inside the dome, student section going crazy, band comes running out of the tunnel. And I said band comes running out of the tunnel because we saw it on the video replay board, but we didn't get to hear it this year as they came out. And then you're going to see a different Syracuse football team. A lot of young guys had some accolades on the offseason. When you're looking at Garrett Williams, Jihad Carter, and Stephen Thompson, great opportunity for them to really put themselves on the national map. And then can they be the guys that we've talked about offensively in the past? Can this defense be the rock that Syracuse relies on this year?
All right, can't wait for it. And let's get to just how the schedule will unfold and what we'll see on the field in the fall. And Syracuse will open on the road against a Mack school. That's something that's happened here in recent years against Western Michigan. This time it's in Athens, Ohio, against the Bobcats, a program, Adam, that has won a lot more than fans probably are aware of here in recent years.
Yeah, you look at Ohio and what they've done. They're led by Frank Zolich, who it was actually my first letter came from Nebraska when Frank was the head coach there. So you look at what he's done over a period of time from 2015 to 2019, he's averaging 8 wins. So this isn't just some alley-oop and slam dunk to walk out of there. Tony White's got to bring this defense and really tighten up that run game, because you've got a running back out there, Demontre Tuggle, who averages 134 yards per game in this very abbreviated Mack season for Ohio.
They played only 3 games this past year, but Ohio has been to bowls in 10 of the previous 11 full seasons. That's no joke. Now, this past season was supposed to have an early road trip to Rutgers. We all know that this past season was not normal. Not only is Rutgers on the schedule, they come to the Dome, and Adam, this one has the chance to be really special on a lot of levels. September 11th, it is the 20th anniversary of the tragedy at the World Trade Center. This one will have heavy hearts, full eyes in a lot of ways, and it's New York versus New Jersey on the football field.
Yeah, you go back out onto the football field, and it's a familiar face. You're looking at Greg Schiano. He's trying to change the culture down at Rutgers, and he's done it very well. I just received the NISPA, the New York State Public High School Athletic Association guest speaker list. Well, he was plastered on it, along with Ed Ogeron, Kyle Flood. He's a guy that really has this moniker of chop. They only went 3-6 last year, but 3 of those losses were by a touchdown or less. And same thing, defense right now is going to be, for Syracuse, one of the big things. 27.4 points per game, 350 yards total per game, which was the best that Rutgers has had since they entered the Big Ten in 2014.
The border war, as you know, is very important. Rutgers' upswing in Greg Schiano's first go-around in the mid-2000s coincided with Syracuse going through a tough patch, and every state, every school in the Northeast and into the Big Ten territory recruits in New Jersey. So that is important turf, and can't wait for that one, September 11th. Obviously, first responders and people like that will be honored at the Dome. And if you remember, after the original September 11th, the emotions that were in the Dome when Syracuse had a couple of big games there, among the early sporting events to return, that certainly was emotional, and it will be again on this 20th anniversary. September 18th is another home game. It is against an FCS opponent that Syracuse has not played historically. That's Albany, and very unusual in this case because of the COVID situation and the restrictions. Albany didn't play in the fall at all, but will have a 6-game spring season. Adam, they're going to be very experienced come September 18th. And I wonder what you think about the lead up there with a lot of these FCS leagues playing significantly in the spring.
Well, you look at Albany, I mean, 2019, 9-5, they catapulted their way up the ranks and they finished second in the FCS playoffs. And now what they're looking at is a situation where normally a team would be going into spring ball. Well, this is 6 different looks for Albany to get underneath their belt. And then they parlay that right into the summer conditioning program. And then boom, they're right into a game against Syracuse. And look, I mean, let's face the facts. A lot of these Albany players are snubbed by Syracuse. They're overlooked, whether it's in the backyard. They're going to come in with a big chip on their shoulder and ready to play against a Syracuse team after those first 2 games. We don't know where they'll be right at that moment in time.
And there's no precedent for that in modern football, that, you do play the FCS programs, but they don't come in with that same kind of polish here that Albany has the chance to have because of the way they're approaching football. And at the same point, they may feel the fatigue, even though there's the summer recovery period. That will be, game 7 or 8 down the line for them. All right, the first of 2 Friday night home games is September 24th in the Dome. Liberty comes back, and if fans didn't know that Liberty was good, Adam, now they know after a 10-win season.
Yeah, well, we found out firsthand. I think we looked down our list. Virginia Tech found out firsthand on how good these guys are, and it's a Friday night game that I think, as a Syracuse player, you're going to pencil in. Liberty, what they've got is Hugh Freeze is returning. That was a big unknown in the offseason. We thought he might get a primetime job. And then when that occurred, 16 of what they call, quote unquote, super seniors, guys that had played, exhausted their eligibility. Now they get another year of eligibility to come back. And that's led by Malik Willis, their quarterback, who ran all over the field, handed the ball off to Cedro Lewis, the running back. And, one guy we didn't see that is coming back is Josh Mack. He's a Rochester native. He'll come with a chip on his shoulder.
Didn't play in the game in the Dome last year.
Did not play in the game against Syracuse last year, but rushed for 811 yards. So they're going to bring this high-powered offense that Hugh Freeze is known for into the Dome. But I will say one thing, that Syracuse players have this marked because it's one of those games that you really want to go out there and show what you're made of.
The ACC opener this year is against a team in Florida State that Syracuse did not see on the schedule this season. Florida State's had its issues in recent years, but October 2nd will take the Orange to Tallahassee, and Mike Norvell is universally respected as somebody that will get it going for the Seminoles.
Yeah, you look at Coach Norvell down there, and, he got to watch over the past couple of years while he was at Memphis, a quarterback in Mackenzie Milton, who's transferring over from UCF, who's a proven winner. He might not be the starting quarterback on day one, but I think he's going to work his way into the lineup and be a guy that really can catapult this FSU. They don't really have the identity that they used to have. And I think with Mackenzie Milton coming in there, that's going to be one that he's going to change that dynamic.
Now, because of the way the schedule was shuffled for the past season, there were some repeat opponents, and now you're back on schedule for this in an odd-numbered year, Adam, and that means Wake Forest comes to the Dome for a 3rd consecutive year.
It's a must-win. These are, you look at Wake Forest over the past couple of years, and that's really where Syracuse took a step back, and now they're chasing back into the middle of the pack. And Wake Forest, I've got a star next to. That's definitely one that they have to show up and win that game.
You're certainly right about it. I mean, this is a Wake Forest program that's been a bit of a thorn for Syracuse here in recent years. They've been very successful, went to a bowl again this past season. October 15th, a Friday night. Clemson coming in on a Friday night. It will bring all kinds of comparisons and memories of 2017 when Syracuse beat Clemson on Friday the 13th. What about a Friday the 15th in October?
Yeah, I mean, and Clemson is the one that if you're on this side of the ACC, that's the one that you're really going after. And Clemson, with the disappointment in the national championships this year, they're going to come back strong. But you will see some differences on that team. Quarterback change being one of them. But for Syracuse, I think they have to throw all of that out the window and show up and start to rise up to that level against a Clemson competition, a nationally ranked power over the past few years.
Now, Adam, when the league has 14 teams, it's hard to play that other division on a regular basis. And it hasn't happened for Syracuse in terms of playing some of these traditional opponents from the Big East days that people remember. Virginia Tech hasn't been on the schedule that much. Miami's been on the schedule less. And here's a trip to Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, October 23rd. The Orange have hosted Virginia Tech a couple of times since this, but their first trip to Blacksburg since 2003. You were on the team then, and I know you know and can share that is a very unique experience.
Very unique experience. Lane Stadium's one of the best environments that you'll ever go to. You walk out of it and you're listening to Enter Sandman as VTech is walking out. It sends chills down your spine, but then you've got to get back out there and play the game. And what VTech did last year is they started off 4-2, and then they had a huge 4-game slide. And then finally they beat their in-state rival UVA, but how they did it was smash mouth football. So this is going to be later in the season. It's going to be cold down there. Can Syracuse really mount up that defense, play that smash mouth football? But this is the one caveat, the one star that I have right now is this should be a good big game for Taj Harris. They're losing a lot of guys in the secondary. You've got Devine and Farley leaving in the secondary. So this is one where I think if Syracuse is coming in with a little bit of momentum, this is one that I'm feeling good about it. We've gone down there in the past. I've gone down there personally in the past and had an upset down there. I don't know if it's going to be an upset like that, but it's definitely going to be one that Syracuse has the opportunity to really go toe-to-toe with.
New Orange did upset the Hokies when they came to the Dome in 2016 in Dino Babers' first season. The next game, October 30th, is a return to the Dome, Adam, and BC in for a third straight year.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, and for Syracuse, it's an opponent that's familiar. 55 times Syracuse has played Boston College, and this is a Boston College team that you saw growth from. Jeff Hafley comes in as their new head coach. Phil Dracovic came over from Notre Dame. They really started to ignite an offensive display up in Chestnut Hill. It'll be fun to watch them come into the Dome. Hopefully Syracuse has their offense going as well at that moment in time.
Yeah, to me, that's one that's always worthy of being the last game of the season, Thanksgiving weekend. It's not again this year. You maybe can guess at this point who that is, and we'll reveal that for you here in just a moment. The next two games are on the road in the month of November. So there's a bye in the first week of November. Then the 13th is at Louisville, and that's another one of these where now Syracuse on the other end of it plays at the Cardinals 3 times straight.
Yeah, Syracuse laid an egg last year. They went out there and they did not play very well, but, you're looking at this year and what the outlook could be. They lost Tutu Atwell. He entered the draft early. Javian Hawkins, he entered the draft early. So Coach Satterfield out there has some big holes to fill on that offense. And for Syracuse, I'm feeling as though a lot of these young guys start to come into their own, come into stride. You're coming off a bye week. We might have some players that we don't know about that have been getting a lot of reps in there. That November 13th could be their coming out party against Louisville.
November 20th, back on the road for the Orange and NC State, the target. This is another in-division game.
Huge in-division game because it's, NC State has worked their way up the ladder. They're starting to become a standard of excellence in the ACC. And for Syracuse, they're going to have to go against an 8-4 team that went to the Gator Bowl. And it's a good team. It's fun to watch. You're going to go down. Heat should not be an issue. It's later in the year. So this will really start to show. Hopefully this is where Syracuse is really in that wins and loss and notching their way up a little bit against a very high quality NC State team.
Right. And then we talk about that year end and Thanksgiving weekend, that type of thing. But Pittsburgh comes in last weekend of November, and you're the one who's been out there in the uniform and bleeding and sweating for the program. But my feeling is the last game of the year probably should be against BC. And if it's not, it should be Pittsburgh. Definitely.
I mean, 77th time that we'll have met against each other. So it's really one that it's the same thing when we look at BC, we look at Rutgers. This is late season recruiting battle. This is, if you're in the middle of the pack, this is the one where, hey, you know what, we're playing Pitt this weekend. Why don't you come up? You're going to watch the game inside the dome, newly renovated. By the way, look up there. You get to see yourself on this big video replay board. And this is the recruiting battle towards the end of the year. Syracuse has to start to win these, the Pitts, the BCs, in order to sway opinions of the local border states, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Ohio. So really this is a recruiting battle one.
No question about it. It's an exciting home schedule again this year, Adam. And the most exciting part is that we hope to finally be able to share all this stuff. There was the massive renovation of the dome, the new roof, the sound system, the lighting, the scoreboard. That is in large part for the fans, and can't wait to share it with them and for people to be in there.
Yeah, everybody knows what the dome is, and for the longest time, I waited until the first day that I got to enter there. A really cool venue. It really brings you on top of the field. With the replay board, you really don't have a bad seat in the house. In the past, you could be sitting right up to the edge, and now you've got everything right in front of you, almost like you're playing a video game. And for a former player to walk in there, it's, the new paint looks good. The lighting looks fantastic. So it'll be one where really anticipating some new fans to walk into there.
Well, you're right, Adam. That scoreboard's been right in front of us from the 40-yard line to the 40-yard line just ahead of our radio broadcast booth. We've had a great look at it. I know fans are excited to see it. Can't wait to share it with them. And maybe more importantly, for the fans to come in, make some noise, and show their support. Fans interested in tickets, just hang on a bit. There'll be details at cuse.com before you know it about ticket packages and how you can make your deposits and buy your tickets for the upcoming season. We thank our friends at Dunkin for sponsoring our program, the 2021 Syracuse football schedule release. We hope to see you folks on the other side of the offseason. Enjoy it. Orange football will be back before you know it. For Adam Terry, I'm Matt Park. Thanks for visiting, and continue to watch us on cuse.com.